It's one of those buttons. Push the front. There you go.
We'll get it down.
Are we getting it figured out?
I don't know. It still thinks we want an auto level.
All right, we are on our way to Harrison, Arkansas. So last night we actually stayed at parents' house, our home base, and stayed overnight there so we can wake up early this morning and get on the road, right?
Did that work for us?
What time did we leave?
Noon.
So can't really say that plan went as planned, but you know, things like that rarely do. And then on top of that, this has been a frustrating adventure already. We've had 2 packages now that we wanted for the trip. One was a little bit more important than the other, but neither one of them
Made it to their destination
like they were supposed to.
on the arrival date that we were getting.
Well, one didn't make the arrival date, and the other one apparently made its arrival date, but the package itself is vanished.
It's vanished.
Yeah. So speaking to other RVers out there and stuff, I'm sure you've used places like Walgreens to have things shipped to and all that. Well, Walgreens is where one of our packages got stolen.
Or misplaced.
We don't know.
They searched for like 15 minutes trying to find said package, and they never found it. So we went on our way.
Yeah. So basically, what's going on here is we just passed Springfield, Missouri, and we're chugging right along and trying really hard to stay in good spirits for this, because this is a big trip.
This is a fun trip.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun trip, and a bunch of people that we're wanting to, a couple families and stuff like that we're wanting to meet and talk to, and so we're having a little bit of a meet up here, and yeah, it'll be good times.
Will be.
Is that gonna be in the way? Okay, quick word to the wise. Just because somebody posts stuff on YouTube and they live in an RV doesn't mean that they're an expert when it comes to living in an RV. I'm a perfect example of this. Don't park RVs like me, okay? Let me just show you. So this is why, right here, this is why you do a test. Yeah, sorry about that. This is why you do a test to see how wide your slide is. Yeah. We're super good at this. Okay, so obviously here, we can see the auto level control, but we can also see here we have our, I believe it's the converter up in here. And, no, inverter, I'm sorry, is what I meant to say. So this is the inverter, and it just doesn't look like it's actually working. I'm assuming that there's supposed to be some kind of digital relay or digital display, as what I'm going to say. Here, I've turned the switch off and on, checked the fuse, everything seems to be on, or in good working order there, but this isn't kicking on. But the thing is, I have power to some things on the inside, but the main thing I don't have power to is our big fridge. So obviously not having power to our big fridge is a big deal. So that was something that we had to read up on before we left. How long will the fridge stay cold without it actually having power to it? So that was something we had to look up before we left to make sure that our food would actually stay cold during the trip. Our leg today was short enough to where it was okay that the fridge didn't have power for that much time, but still it'd be nice to have the fridge working on the inverter like it's supposed to. So another bug that we have found with the camper here on our second trip out. So hopefully we don't find any more, too many more surprises. Okay, so we got some new toys, and as long as the shipment works, we should get even more new toys tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to that. It'd be a nice surprise if we actually get it, just because this trip has been nothing but one shipment issue after another. In fact, one of our things got stolen, and the other one just got redirected and taken to the entirely wrong town. But hey, that's what happens, I guess. It's not a big deal. But anyway, so I'm going to be really surprised if we actually get it. If we do, it's going to be awesome. And I'm super, like I said, I'm super excited because it flies. It's really cool. So, but on a more practical note, something that we went ahead and dropped some money on is this bad boy right here next to me. So we went ahead and got us an actual WeBoost system. Now I went through Amazon, I shopped quite a bit, I looked a lot, okay. I got some friends, I got some family that are very into techie things, okay, and they helped me out. Because to be honest with you, when it comes to internet stuff and equipment and all that, I'm pretty ignorant, I'll be honest with you. I don't know a whole lot, okay, so I got some opinions of people who know more about this kind of stuff. Right, so anyways, so we got this. I went ahead and went out for the actual WeBoost brand signal booster. So this is their actual RV style one. It's made to actually clamp onto RVs. I don't think there's really a difference in performance. I think you can get the ones that are for trucks or whatever. I think performance wise they're all pretty much the same. This is just I think like the internal antenna is the only difference, which I can show you that here in a little bit. So anyways, so I went ahead and got this mounted on the back here. It mounts right on the ladder and it's really great. Just these little U-clamps. So it clamps around the ladder and puts it right where you want it and everything. It actually does say in the note, and this is something I didn't even think about whenever I was installing it. But they say it in the instructions, it's good thought. So in the WeBoost instructions, when you're installing it, it says to make sure that you don't make it higher than regulation height when it comes to like overpasses and stuff. And to be honest with you, it's like, obviously I'm pretty new to this, I mean honestly, right? It didn't even cross my mind, like, oh yeah, because I could take this thing and I can mount this sucker way up here, you know, and then it's gonna stick out higher than my air conditioning units, anything else on top of the rig, right? So then it has more the potential of colliding with something, right? So it was just really good that they put that note in there. Now something else they said when coming to installation is there's two different ways you can do it. One is basically you find a hole that's already there. So if you have an antenna or you know, anything else that already has a hole in your rig that you can piggyback, do that, right? And shove your wire through there. The second one is they said you could actually run it through a slide, and you know, because your slide has two layers, whatever, of gasket. So you have the first layer and then you have the second layer. So it said you could run it through that. Okay, so that's option number 2. And option number 3 is actually drilling a new hole in the side of your rig. I opted not for number 3. I don't want to drill holes. I'm not down for that. So I actually went with number 2. Might not be the best, and maybe somebody will comment on this video and be like, Adam, you're silly, don't do that kind of stuff. That's fine. It's just the one I went with, and so right now it's all installed semi-permanently, and by semi I mean the antenna is installed permanently. That's about it. Everything else on the inside I kind of have just laying around until I can get it more how I want, because actually I ran out of cable. I had a cable and I'm trying to get it further down the rig, more centralized, but I ran out of cable length, so it's all kind of hanging out in the kids' bedroom, and I'll show you that here in a second. But anyways, so this is our new tech. For anyone who is interested in getting the WeBoost system actually for the RV, like I said, I don't think there's a difference in performance, but this particular one, I think on Amazon, was like $4.99. So we'll see how well it performs, but I'm hoping it works really well. I was able to get some work done today because of this, but it is having a little bit of issue, and I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so I thought I'd come in here and go ahead and show how I currently have our new internet setup. Now I'm going to show this, and you promise not to laugh, okay? It's semi-temporary, permanent-ish, okay? So, like I said, outside, so we went ahead and bit the bullet and got one of the WeBoost RV antennas, and I'll go ahead and show you guys which one I got. As you can see, it's coming out, whew, bad shadow work. But see, it's just coming out, I just have it going through the slide here. Yeah. See, so it's just coming through the slide, coming around like this, okay? And then there's my booster box. Again, sorry for the shadow. There's my booster box right there, okay? And then it's actually going underneath the bed there, that piece of carpet, and back around, okay? And there's a method to the madness, I promise, okay? So we're coming back over here, and you can see I got my internal antenna, and then I got the Netgear modem here, LB1120, I believe, okay, is what we're powering that with. And then from there, I'm going over to a TP link. I think it's like an A1200 or something like that. It has both 2.4 and 5G broadcast capability. So anyways, it seems to be working pretty good with the Wii Boost. The one thing I will say that's a little weird, and you can kind of see it, so I've got 2 bars, and then it shoots up like that. And I don't know.
Another night in the camper.
Yeah.
Getting ready to pack up to go down even further south to Hot Springs Village. And I think it was a plus that Miss Hannah woke up this morning and said, "Mom, I really like the camper." So that was cool. And then Adam worked a little this morning. And it was our first day homeschooling in the camper. So that was a new first for us. That was pretty cool too.
So this now makes our 3rd stop, getting down to Hot Springs, Arkansas, with the truck getting hot. So again, another word to the wise, the route that we have chosen, which is actually Highway 7, not necessarily a good idea if you're that big. It's been nothing but a headache. So I guess lesson learned, we'll just take it easy and stop when we have to. I think it's important to always keep in mind your rig in general when it comes to choosing your route.
Oh yes.
You know, how much you weigh, how long you are,
how tall you are.
Absolutely. And this is stuff you hear all the time with other people who do YouTube channels like this. You hear it all the time. And did we heed that warning?
Did we listen well?
No. So we're in Arkansas, about, I don't know, 1/3 of the way down Arkansas, whatever, trying to get to Hot Springs. And needless to say, we found some very interesting road because we are trying to get there faster. Didn't really turn out like we wanted. Actually had to pull over twice to get the truck to cool off because we got heat warnings and everything else. If you've watched any of our previous videos, you know camper's not small.
It's not small.
It's not small. It's pretty heavy.
Yep.
And I mean, we have a Dodge dually diesel. I mean, we
have the truck, but
right.
We also have the rig.
Yeah. So, and I think I said this at one other point. Don't do things like us. Watch the video, be like, now I know not what to do.
We need to find the app that the truckers use or the campers use that are trucker whatever. Trucker apps, camper apps to know this is a safe highway.
Yes. Now we haven't had any problems with height, like hitting bridges, power lines. No. A couple times I got nervous.
You did. Anyways, lots of steep hills.
Yeah, it's all been hills. So.
Such as Arkansas.
Yeah.
We made it to our destination. We had a couple hiccups that you've seen, but we learned along the way, and that was okay. And we're really enjoying our time meeting this new family, the Stancils. So you're good seeing.
Yes. Stick around because the next video we are going to have more of our antics. It's called antics. hanging out with them and everything. So be sure to subscribe, like the Facebook page, all of that, because we want you guys to follow along with us in our journey. So we appreciate everyone who has done that so far. So this was a little bit more of a difficult drive. What would you say was your big takeaway?
Look up our routes before we get in the car.
Yes, look up the routes before you get in the car. Absolutely. I think one of my big takeaways was the idea of making your destinations purposeful.
Of
Because
course, you would have the thoughtful idea.
well, you know,
I'm practical.
yeah, that's true. But if you think about it, like whenever the journey gets hard, whenever the truck overheats and things like that are happening, it's whenever you can look back and be like, no, there is a God-given, or maybe it's just you really want to, you're trying to see family, whatever. It's that destination that's going to get you through those hard, really difficult points in your journey. And I think that if you try to set up life to where you're just always trying to be purposeful and very intentional in what you're doing, it makes those down spirals, the valleys, which we went through a lot of valleys, a lot of hills, up and down, but it makes them a little easier. So our prayer, I guess I would say, is find God in the valleys, because He's there waiting on you.
Amen.
So well, we'll see you next time, and
No, we'll see you down the road.
Right. We'll see you down the road.
See you down the road.